Slavic Review. Chapter. In addition to updating the existing literature with examples from Poland, Ukraine, and Russia. Mila Dragojevi, The University of the South. Interwar, East Central Europe. 1918 to 1941. The Failure of Democracy Building, The Fate of Minorities. Ed. Sabrina P. Ramit. Routledge Studies in Modern European History. London, Routledge, 2020. Why now? Why present? Yet another book about interwar East Central Europe. Sabrina Ramit introduces the book with this question and she gives a thoughtful and convincing answer. As she points out, this is the first multi-authored book with each chapter written by experts in the field. The 11 authors come from universities in 7 different countries. All are fluent in the language of the country they study. The last book on Eastern Europe before World War II was published nearly 2 decades ago, by Ivan T. Berend. So a work which now explores diverse interpretations and perspectives is more than appropriate. More importantly, Ramit suggests that in this time of global challenges, examining the factors which led to the failure of democratization in East Central Europe might provide some valuable lessons. The opening chapter by Ramit provides an overview and a framework for the more detailed analysis by individual scholars focusing on individual countries. These chapters appear to be organized geographical, based on border proximity. Thus, the countries covered, in order, are Poland, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, Kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenians, Yugoslavia, and finally Albania. An interesting omission is Austria. Ramit suggests that Austria does not share the general patterns of state failures. One could, however, argue that Austria shared border issues, challenges of linguistic minorities, and the failure of democracy, all factors found in the other 7 states. Chapter 9 covers peasantries and peasant parties. These parties, movements were especially relevant and important for understanding interwar East Central Europe. Finally, there is a summative afterword by Stefano Bianchini that attempts to synthesize the period. In this first chapter, Ramit focuses on a number of commonalities and patterns, chief among which was the fact that not a single one of these states had the same boundaries in 1919 as in 1875. There were territorial winners and losers, which contributed to conflict. Furthermore, the borders were contested for several years after the war ended, so that implementing new governance structures was negatively affected. Compounding border issues were other problems that made political stability problematic, above all the position of minorities in the nation-building process. Tables found in this chapter and throughout the book provide valuable data on such factors, including a table on prominent political figures assassinated in the region between 1919 and 1940. The formation of these new or reconfigured states was based as much on economic needs, geography, and history as on national identity. Thus, as Ramit points out, the goal of the new states was to form governments that would reflect the role and vision of the state-forming nation. Ethnic diversity was a problem to be solved, not embraced as a necessary component of the new borders. By 1929, Ramit identifies Hungary, Bulgaria, Albania, Poland, and Yugoslavia as failed states, with Romania added, 1930. And finally Czechoslovakia in 1938. This is examined in much greater detail in the chapters on the individual countries.